My stepmom said I was 16 when my parents kicked me out of the house. It was Christmas Eve, and I just told them I was pregnant. My dad's face turned this awful shade of red, and my mom, she just stared at the floor like she couldn't even look at me anymore. My dad pointed to the door and said either I fixed the problem or I wasn't their daughter anymore. I couldn't do what he wanted. I just couldn't. So I packed a bag while they sat in silence in the living room. Not a single word as I walked out the door in the middle of a snowstorm with nowhere to go. For 2 years, I lived with my best friend's family. They took me in, helped me finish high school, even watched my baby girl while I worked nights at a diner. My daughter Lily was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen, and I never once regretted my choice. I tried calling home once when Lily was 6 months old. My mom answered. I could hear her breathing, but when I said hello, she just hung up. After that, I stopped trying. When Lily turned 5, I had saved enough to rent us a tiny apartment. By the time she was 8, I had my associate's degree and a decent job at an insurance company. We were doing okay, just the two of us. Then, last year, when Lily was 13, my phone rang with a number I still recognized even after all this time. My dad was calling. 15 years of silence, and suddenly there he was, asking if we could meet. I almost didn't go. What right did he have to pop back into my life now? But something made me say yes. Maybe I wanted Lily to know her grandparents. Maybe I wanted answers. Or maybe I just needed to face them as the woman I'd become, not the scared teenager they threw away. We met at a coffee shop near my apartment. They looked older, smaller somehow. My mom cried when she saw me. My dad couldn't even look me in the eye at first. He slid a small box across the table. Inside was a tiny silver bracelet. "We got this for your baby," he said, "right after you left." My mom finally spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "We were going to come find you, give you this, bring you home. But then your father had his accident. I didn't know about any accident. How could I? They never tried to contact me." My dad rolled up his sleeve to show a long scar running from his wrist to his elbow. "Drunk driver," he said. "2 days after you left. I was in a coma for 3 months. When he woke up, he couldn't remember the last 5 years. Didn't remember me getting pregnant. Didn't remember throwing me out. My mom had to tell him everything, but by then they had no idea where I was." "Why didn't you look harder?" I asked, my voice cracking. I wasn't hiding. My dad reached for my hand, but I pulled away. That's when he told me the real reason they were reaching out after all these years. The thing that finally made him track down my number and call. My mom had been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. She had maybe 6 months left. She wanted to meet her granddaughter, my dad said. His voice sounded hollow, like he'd been practicing those words for days. And I wanted to try to make things right before it's too late. I sat there, my coffee going cold, not sure what to say. Part of me wanted to walk out, let them feel a fraction of the abandonment I had felt. But another part of me, the part that had grown up raising Lily, understood something about forgiveness. "I need time to think," was all I could say. When I got home, Lily could tell something was wrong. She may have been only 13, but that kid could read me like a book. I never kept secrets from her. She knew she had grandparents somewhere, knew they hadn't wanted me to have her. I told her everything that happened at the coffee shop. "I think you should let them meet me," she said after thinking it over. "Not for them, for you, Mom, so you can finally close that door." My kid was wiser than I'd ever be. The next weekend we met at a park. Lily was nervous but trying not to show it. I watched my parents' faces when they saw her for the first time. My mom covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. My dad just stood there looking stunned. "She looks just like you did," he finally said. Lily, always braver than me, walked right up to them. "I'm Lily," she said, holding out her hand like the little adult she sometimes pretended to be. My mom reached out shakily to take it, but then pulled Lily into a hug instead. I tensed, ready to step in, but Lily hugged her back. Over the next few months, we settled into an awkward routine. Sunday dinners at their house, my mom teaching Lily to bake the same cookies she used to make with me, my dad showing her his model train collection that had somehow survived all these years. It wasn't perfect. There were arguments, tears, moments when old wounds reopened, but there were also moments of healing I never thought possible. One night, after Lily had gone to bed, my dad and I sat alone on their back porch. He hadn't had a drink since coming out of that coma, he told me. When my mom had to tell him what he'd done, he couldn't believe he was capable of it. "I spent years hating myself for driving you away," he said. "Then spent years trying to find you to make it right. You didn't try hard enough," I said. The words came out harsher than I intended. "You're right," he said simply. "I failed you. I can't change that. But I swear to you, I won't fail you or Lily again." My mom's condition deteriorated faster than the doctors predicted. 4 months after we reconnected, she was in hospice care. I took leave from work to help care for her. Lily would sit by her bed after school, reading to her, or just holding her hand. The night before she died, my mom asked to speak to me alone. She was so thin by then, barely a shadow of the woman who raised me. "I should have stood up for you," she whispered. "I should have followed you out that door. Not a day went by that I didn't hate myself for staying silent." I held her hand, the same way my daughter had been doing. "I forgive you, Mom." She shook her head weakly. "Don't say that yet. There's something else you need to know." She told me that my dad had been trying to find me for over a decade. The accident was real, But her story about him forgetting wasn't entirely true. He remembered everything within a year of recovery. They'd hired private investigators, searched social media, even put up billboards in nearby cities with my picture. Then why didn't you find me? I asked. I was on Facebook. I used my real name. I never hid, because I told them to stop looking, she said, her voice barely audible. I was ashamed. I couldn't face what we'd done to you. Your father wanted to keep searching, but I convinced him you were better off without us. I couldn't speak. All these years, I thought they hadn't cared enough to look for me, but they had looked. And my mom had been the one to give up. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to blame him, she said. Be angry with me if you need to be, but don't punish him for my cowardice. She died the next morning with all three of us by her side. After the funeral, I found my dad sitting alone in their bedroom, holding that silver baby bracelet they'd bought so many years ago. Did she tell you? He asked without looking up. I nodded, sitting beside him on the bed. I should have kept looking anyway, he said. I should have found you despite her. You found me eventually, I said. That's what matters now. It's been 2 years since my mom passed. My dad sold their house and bought a smaller place just a few blocks from us. He picks Lily up from school sometimes, goes to all her volleyball games. Last month, he helped her with a science project and they took first place. Yesterday, Lily asked if she could start calling him Grandpa instead of Mr. Thomas. I said that was fine with me. People ask why I finally answered when my parents reached out after all those years. I tell them it wasn't about my parents deserving forgiveness. It was about my daughter deserving to know her family, flaws and all. And maybe it was about me too, finally letting go of the angry, frightened teenager I once was. Forgiveness doesn't make the past disappear, but it does make room for a better future. And that future includes my dad teaching Lily to drive, just like he taught me. Some circles are meant to be completed, even if it takes a lifetime to draw them.